You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast. This is the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me at official Sam Little on Instagram. There's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome the show.
To another episode of the Maple Footy Podcast. This is episode 18, and today we are talking all about the Euro final and some recaps that we got going on. So for the special occasion, I want to bring on a very, very special guest. He is one of my closest friends and has been for a very long time. I've known him for 8 years now, and we've been talking about doing this for a little bit. So without any further ado, here's my good friend, John.
Hello, baby girl.
And yeah, so like I said, we've been good buddies for a little bit now. And so you were outside my family. You were probably the first person I told about this podcast.
Yeah.
You knew before the gram.
I did.
So
inside scoop.
Yeah, you had the inside scoop on that. And I'm very excited to have you on today because we're talking about the Euros, man.
Oh yeah.
What everyone wants to hear about. Two Canadians who are not European talking about a European competition.
Elite ball knowledge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so elite ball knowledge is going to be expected, of course. And we're going to start off with some general just England-Spain yap about, about the final. And
how you feel about it?
I feel pretty good about it. I've been saying England wasn't going to win it for all tournament. And then seeds of doubt were planted anytime like they had that little weird magical moment of like, you know, a random Bellingham bicycle kick. And it's like, oh, maybe they got it.
We'd go from Southgate terror ball to individual moments of brilliance.
No, like legitimately, like it's what honestly saved them at many different times in the tournament.
They'd look super stagnant, and then you just see Saka rip one outside the box, and then they're back in a game.
Legitimately, because when... like Saka, for instance, Switzerland looked down and out in the 75th. Switzerland scores the first goal, maybe, and then 5 minutes later, Saka just remembers who he is, scores, and then they see it out to penalties.
It's kind of absurd that England will spend 80 minutes not playing football. Then they remember it's a knockout game, and they say, "Oh, we got to score now," and they do.
Yeah, literally, they go, "Okay, well, we're locking in."
Yeah,
and then they credit to them, they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I feel pretty good about it. I think Spain were definitely the deserved winners. I know you may have some opinions on that one.
I'd say they deserve to win the finals. I think their road there might be a little dubious.
Ooh, that could be a hot take, you know, because I've been seeing like everyone saying that this is like potentially like an all-timer run.
Is it?
You don't think?
That Germany game, it really isn't sitting right with me, man.
Still.
Not at all. No.
Shoot.
No, it is rent free in my mind.
Yeah.
Just I'll be sitting there doing whatever, and then I think about Marc Cucurella's handball.
Whoa. We're not insulting a Chelsea boy 30 seconds into my podcast, are we?
We might be. I'm not insulting. I'm merely observing.
Fair. No, yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've seen many professionals, as they say that it's technically not a handball as per the rule. Whether or not I agree with that, I have already said in previous episodes, a handball is a handball. I think it was a handball. But that being said, I do think Spain looked a dominant force really from match week 1 all the way until the final.
I do maybe not backtrack, but I would like to say that I think Spain looked phenomenal throughout this entire tournament. I just think that Germany game didn't really end as most would want it to. It felt like kind of a weird way for the host to go out. A host who looked very, very good throughout the tournament.
Yeah, in my opinion, probably the second best team in the tournament, if we're being honest. And to kind of go out potentially a little bit controversially, it does. I can agree with that. It may not sit right.
I think the real travesty, though, is the fact that they were matched up in, what was it, the round of 16? Quarterfinals, yeah, there you go.
Like, that's final.
Yeah, that should have been the final.
Realistically, yeah, like, if either one of them was on the other side of the bracket, like, say Spain was on the other side of the bracket, I think that you see Germany, Spain in the final, because those were, to me, the two teams that kind of showed up from their first to their last game.
Oh, 1,000%. Both teams looked really solid top to bottom. And instead of an elite final, we got the the sitting deep merchant.
Ooh, we're jumping right into England now too, huh?
Kind of bouncing around from the weird critter teams, one might say.
Fair enough. I mean, if we want to jump into England, we can jump into England because we both have a lot to say on a lot of these players and this squad.
Yeah.
So we jumping in?
I think so.
We're jumping in. To me, honestly, never looked a team deserving of a final.
Yeah. I mean, look at literally all of their games leading up to the final.
Yeah.
They looked stagnant.
Yeah.
For a team that's got, £2 billion or euros worth of market value, it's astounding that Gareth Southgate managed to take all of these players and make, I'd say, 80% of them look inefficient and sloppy.
Yeah, no, they absolutely did. I mean, like, look at Phil Foden. I mean, I know neither of us are his biggest fan, but we both can acknowledge that he had a tremendous season with Manchester City. And he was played as a left wing, right wing, in the number 10 as more of a box-to-box midfielder through various points of this tournament. And every single time he looked out of position.
He looked uncomfortable. You have the Premier League Player of the Year, just not
technically Premier League Player.
Well, okay. He got the award. Let's, we can have our debates about.
That's another episode.
Yeah. That's where the real ball knowledge comes out.
Yeah. When we're both exposed for having zero.
No, what do you mean?
Oh, so they were just two guys with microphones.
No,
they don't have knowledge at all.
What's new?
Yeah, legit. No, yeah, and I'm not his biggest fan, as you are well aware.
Yeah.
But Jude Bellingham, I mean, credit to him. 2 great moments.
Oh yeah.
The goal against Serbia saves them that win. Gets them that win.
If I may.
Yeah.
That was maybe the most out of place goal I've seen in an England game because they did not look good at all.
No.
I was having a conversation earlier, and it's staggering that an England side who, let's be honest, looked bad.
Yeah.
In that game managed to claw out a win.
Yeah.
Against, the Serbia side was not.
Serbia side was extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, so he does that, and then the bicycle kick against Slovakia in the round of 16. Literally, a minute away from going out, that. I mean, yes, it's a great bicycle kick. To me, it's legitimately all he did all tournament. I know he got an assist in the final, and he got a couple man of the match awards, but to me, just never. I mean, I don't grade him highly at the best of times, but he never looked like that player that we were kind of promised.
He, whether you view this as a positive or a negative, really felt emblematic of England's entire campaign. We said it already. Stagnation and kind of a lazy play, touched with moments of brilliance like that. That Slovakia goal is probably the highlight of England's tournament. Everything looked hopeless. They were about to go out way too early. Major upset.
Oh, absolutely.
And Bellingham came in with a, not to sound like a hater, it was an okay bicycle kick, but a bicycle kick nonetheless.
Okay, bicycle kick is a hilarious way to describe it because you prefaced it by saying not to sound like a hater and then sounded immediately like one.
Okay, well you can look like Cristiano or Bale doing a bicycle kick, or you can look like Messi in that with that one PSG bicycle kick.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I've never seen the hype with him. When he first kind of broke out, I thought, yeah, this kid's good.
Yeah.
And definitely has a high ceiling. But I don't know, since his late Dortmund days and now his Real Madrid days, he's just not moving me, quite frankly.
It really does feel there was, and this is going to sound like I'm being a hater. One young player, formerly English, now playing for Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Won the Bundesliga that year, and one was handing out water.
Oh, yeah.
So let's.
This has been anytime I debate someone, the player that we're talking about is Jamal Musiala here. Whenever I bring up that I think Jamal Musiala is the better player than Bellingham, people will say, well, why? That is the number one reason I always look to is on their biggest day against each other. I know they weren't playing each other, but against each other. Musiala scores as, 19 at the time?
I think.
And Jude Bellingham was giving water. But don't worry. He still put on his kit at the end of the game so he could get his sad pictures for Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
I see my problem with Jude Bellingham. This is turning into a Jude Bellingham just trash talk. My problem with Jude Bellingham is, for me, he totally epitomizes the new game. In my opinion, he's that Instagram player where he does it all for the cameras, and I mean everything. His post-match interviews, those little moments of genius that he does produce, full credit to him, he does produce those.
Absolutely.
Those little that's what you see on Instagram, and you go, oh, I didn't watch the game. He must have had a good game.
Yeah.
That to me is kind of Jude Bellingham.
I think there's 2 points here. Wayne Rooney was talking about it, actually saying whenever England would have a bad game or a bad performance, you don't see him out there doing the interviews. But whenever they're winning, he's out there talking for the team.
Yeah.
And it is just looping back to that comparison between Musiala and Bellingham. People can say, why don't you rate him over Musiala? And it's not to sound arrogant, but it's just you watch the game.
No, legitimately.
One's gliding through the pitch,
yeah,
creating so many opportunities, great passes, great goals. And Bellingham is a great finisher. We've seen that throughout the season.
Yep.
But it kind of seems like anytime he's asked to make a magical moment that's not in the box, you don't see it. He's not slicing open defenses. It's just, I don't want to say it. Maybe a tap-in.
Oh, we're calling him a tap-in merchant?
That might be a little too far, because I'm seeing the El Clasico goal.
Oh, you're seeing the... Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, but it is just, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call him a tap-in merchant. I would call him, honestly, a moment merchant. I'm not sure if that's better or not.
I mean, I think it's more fitting.
I feel like it is more fitting. And that this isn't me saying that he's a terrible player, this or that and the other. I just think maybe we're getting a bit carried away with him a little bit. I see people comparing him to Zidane. Yeah. Lampard, Gerrard, all these greats of the last 20, 25 years. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of man, he's been hot for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be real.
No disrespect.
Come on. 2 years, yeah, but how long has he been under the entire world's scrutiny?
Yeah.
Under that pressure. I'd say maybe it was the Madrid move.
Madrid for sure.
That people saw him at Dortmund.
Yeah.
But there wasn't that pressure. And I mean, I hate to say it, it's just because you're not looking at Dortmund as a team.
Yeah.
And it kills me to say it.
Yeah. Shout out Dortmund.
Yeah.
They're not Madrid.
They're not Madrid.
Yeah.
They're not a Bayern. Not yet. But
no, they're not a Chelsea or
or a 23-24 Man United.
Yeah, peak Premier League, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I mean, I'll move us away from Bellingham. I'm sure he'll come up again. But even looking past Bellingham, I think we kind of already mentioned, Phil Foden, a terrible tournament.
007.
007. I was just about to say it. 007, not good enough, you know?
It kills me because I think as a great player, you do have to step up when you're being asked to do more than you normally would.
Yeah.
But I do think it really sucks that he wasn't given most of the opportunity to play in his preferred position.
Yeah. With me, though, it comes a caveat of, I mean, I'm already going to bring him up, and you know who I'm about to say.
Yeah.
You look at Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
And what he did in his minimal minutes with the squad. He did that.
Yeah.
Maybe not in his preferred position. And he comes on in the Euro final, and 2 minutes and 20 seconds later, England's level.
You had that
I
stat
had
ready.
the stat ready. Dude, on the Maple Footy podcast, we are professional.
Yeah.
I had that stat ready.
You are professional.
Yeah. But no, I had that so like I said, not to bring him up, but even Anthony Gordon doesn't get a sniff this tournament. He played 5 minutes.
Did he?
I know he got on at one point.
Felt like a pity sub.
It was.
Yeah.
You look at him, to me, fair enough. You start Phil Foden the first couple of games because he's warranted it from his season play.
Yeah.
But he's not doing it. It should not have taken you 7 games. And he still started the 7th.
It didn't. Well, that's the thing. It didn't. It's just, and I mean, we've been ragging on Southgate a lot.
And we will continue
yeah,
to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 1,000%. But I mean, you saw like he started Trent in midfield. What, 3 games?
2.
2?
2, yeah.
Yeah, and then he switched to Mainu, which as a United fan, I'm a little biased. He looked infinitely better.
Yeah.
Seemed like one of the only players who was actually willing to bring the ball up.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of astounded that he didn't do the same for Palmer.
Yeah.
Because it was very clear that whenever he was brought on, he was hungry. He actually did stuff.
Yeah. He was making stuff happen, and we'll talk about Trent very, very soon because I actually have some things to say about Trent and Kyle Walker. But you look at these, like Ollie Watkins scores in the dying seconds of that semifinal.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get rewarded. I understand you have Harry Kane, but Harry Kane has done nothing all tournament. And now you have Ollie Watkins come in, take his chance, and you go, all right, buddy, back on the bench.
It feels wrong to say that Harry Kane has 3 goals this tournament. He's joint Golden Boot.
Yeah, literally. And what did he do?
Yeah.
Could you name me a goal he scored, like who he scored against?
Yeah, I mean, like I got one, but
he's got Slovakia. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
When else did he score? Like, legitimately.
He drew Denmark, yeah?
Yeah, I think he may have been the one to score against Denmark,
and
then, I don't know when else he scored.
Yeah, and it was the... oh, my Lord, now I'm actually thinking.
Yeah, exactly. When did he... Oh, the penalty against the Netherlands. Yeah. Which I've already discussed.
You can't see the quotations.
John just threw up quotations, the penalty, because it wasn't. Yeah. Everyone knows it. So, yeah, like, you look at guys like that, and why are they not getting an opportunity? I mean, it's knockout football. If it's not working, you have to change it.
I mean, let's be real. Even Ivan Toney, who was brought on for a penalty, once again, I hate to sound like a hater. I feel like you're getting the same impact. You have no box presence.
No, yeah.
At least based off the way England was playing. It's let's run down the wings, cross it in.
Yeah.
And Harry Kane's either not in the box or he's just getting beat to the ball every time.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, exactly. And I think I don't know, it's indicative of I will bring up Trent now because a topic of discussion in my house and around the world for sure.
Yeah.
Trent Alexander-Arnold's not a midfielder, and I've said that on this podcast.
Yeah.
Trent Alexander-Arnold should have been their starting right back this tournament.
Yeah.
Because I have been extremely critical of Alexander-Arnold's defending in the past, and I still don't think he's the greatest defender you'll ever see.
Yeah.
But when you see Kyle Walker concede that goal to Switzerland, which I think he's pretty at fault for, and then the 2 goals in this final, pretty at fault for, you kind of look and you're like, well, is he that much better than Trent defensively? And Trent gets you creative opportunities.
Yeah.
For sure. Because the thing with Trent's game is he is, top 5 at worst passers in the world?
I mean, I think, like, even then, when you look at his stats at his best, I think top... And I mean, I, as a Man United guy, I'm never going to rate the Liverpool boys. But let's be real here.
Yeah.
Like, he is a phenomenal passer. Top 5 might even be a little too
low.
It's
probably harsh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I never thought that for this England side, I'd be, like, saying, start Trent.
Yeah.
Right back.
Especially when they converted to a 3 at the back and 2 wing backs.
Yeah.
He's just staring you in the face.
Well, that's the thing.
Like, he's literally, like... He's on the bench staring you in the face going, hey, man, like, I could put in some nice crosses for literally anybody, and you're not starting me.
Now, let me ask you, do you think Mr. We don't have a natural replacement for Calvin Phillips is thinking about that? Do you think the cogs are turning?
No, absolutely not. I think if they were, he would have been starting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like... a guy. So Trent's. I know he played midfield when he was coming up in the Liverpool Youth Academy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ronaldo Nazario was a goalkeeper when he was coming up.
Exactly my point. He's not professionally speaking. He's not a midfielder. So to now go in England's biggest tournament, I would say since the last Euro,
which is really
really funny. Their biggest tournament since the last Euro. You kind of look and you go, why are you playing him as a midfielder when you have Kobe Mainu on the bench for the first couple games. Yeah. Conor Gallagher on the bench for the first couple of games.
Yeah.
And then guys that you left. I mean, Connor Wharton didn't even get a minute, and he's literally the guy that could complement Declan Rice in the midfield. He was on the plane. He was there.
Speaking of, Rice looked so
not good,
underwhelming,
overrated, potentially.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I know. It was great watching Xavi Simons take that ball off him and right full screamer in.
It's just, how much was he?
105
Really?
pounds, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you didn't have the million, we're kind of cooking there, but
$105. Just $105, no million. Just,
Declan,
we'll give you Declan Rice and a handshake.
Declan, I got a crisp 20 for you. Forge is calling, brother.
Shout out Forge FC, man. But yeah, no, I mean, like a guy like Trent Alexander scores the winning penalty for them against and is not seen again. He didn't get a minute after that. Like, what a way to reward someone.
It really is funny to think about. He does convert, kind of quote unquote breaks the penalty curse, that after that last Euro final, they're feeling sour. And that's just his tournament done.
No, legit.
Like
he
pack
was
it in, man.
He was brought on, was the scapegoat for the first 2 games for Southgate. Southgate literally threw him under the bus by saying, we don't have a replacement for Calvin Phillips. One, also, Calvin Phillips, really? Like, that's the hill we're dying on?
I think I had an aneurysm when he said that, dude. Like, it's just, man. And I mean, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. People talk about the results he's gotten. When you have a squad like that, you expect them, I don't want to say you expect them to win everything, but on paper, they really should.
One.
They really should.
Yeah.
Like, going out to France in the World Cup makes sense. Elite France side, but it's just, come on, man. You made the final twice.
Yeah, you made the final twice and lost both, and both times were second best on the night.
Yeah, and
like,
I don't want it. Like, they were both very winnable games too.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Looking at now, so we kind of talked about where Southgate kind of went wrong, which is a lot.
Where didn't he?
Where didn't he? I mean, Luke. Like, I know you're Manchester United. Why was Luke Shaw there when he hasn't played a game since February, and then you bring him in for the Euros, and he doesn't even start a game until the final? I know he got minutes throughout the tournament in the quarters and the semi. You have other left backs.
I know why he's there, but it feels like he failed upward when Trippier didn't look good.
Yeah, because who do you put there now?
But let's be real. He should, he just, based off of, if we're doing the thing where he left out other players based off form, brought 4 number 10/right mids.
Yeah.
Shaw shouldn't have been there. However, it kind of worked out for him.
Yeah, in the end, I guess it kind of works out because Shaw does get fit in time for the final, in which they lost.
Yeah.
But
I know my goat.
All I'm saying is England was winning before Luke Shaw was starting.
I mean,
dude, Luke Shaw is crazy.
See, that's crazy because that is technically true. However, please watch the games. I beg of you. England's made 2 back-to-back Euro finals. Did you watch the games? Did you watch any of them? They looked good for the first half against the Netherlands. When Ronald Koeman had no clue what was going on, it took Xavi Simons a moment of brilliance. He's 21?
Yeah, he's 21. Yeah, he's 21.
Yeah. Carrying the Netherlands out, and then he just said, "Okay, sit back," and it took Ollie Watkins' stun to get them there. I could just ramble.
Yeah, man, and we could just ramble about England all day long, I'm pretty sure. But I think it's time to kind of move into Spain and what went right for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because genuinely right, beat Croatia with ease on the first day.
Yeah.
I know we end up seeing that Croatia isn't the Croatia we knew, but still
in the moment
it was a pretty big shock.
Yeah.
They beat Italy. I know everybody says, oh, it was just an own goal, but Spain should have won that game regardless.
Yeah.
And then they beat Albania, who, all fairness, they weren't an easy team to beat. Italy and Croatia both struggled, and Spain only beat them by 1-0.
Despite how Albania's tournament ended, they still should hold their heads high.
Oh, absolutely.
Drawn into that group, they didn't look
they didn't look out of place.
They looked competent. They looked threatening.
Yeah.
Scored the earliest goal in the
Scholes on his mind.
Yeah, real. Bring him back.
Only man that would be thinking Paul Scholes. It's just so disrespectful.
Bring him in. Bring him in now, bro.
Yeah.
Sub Rice out.
Dude, I mean, fair. But then you look at their quarterfinal, Georgia. I mean, Spain, I think people do forget, Spain did have to come behind in that game. I know it was Georgia, but honestly, shout out Georgia as well.
Once again, another team.
Another team that didn't look out of place. And I know Spain ends up winning the game 4-1. But then you go to their quarterfinal, Germany.
I have words about that.
We have words. And they beat the host nation.
Yeah,
like they do. And I mean, say what you want about the penalty. It was a very evenly contested game.
I think, I feel like both of Spain's goals were quite nice.
Yes.
And it's not this is not an indictment on their like attacking presence or just the way they played. I just think it's one bad moment that kind of soured
it.
what like a very, very good game.
Yeah, fair
so
enough.
entertaining.
It was one of the best games of the tournament for sure. So they beat the host nation. Then semifinals, they beat a lot of people's favorites, France. I know at the time of the semifinal, it was not France that was a favorite, but before the tournament, France was one of the favorites.
The France arc was kind of crazy.
We could do an entire episode on just France if we're being real.
If I may, I'd like to just mention the fact that the only time France themselves scored a goal in open play, they proceeded to was it after 10 minutes of that goal, they were down 2-1.
Yeah. Maybe it was the own goals that was really carrying them through.
The real own goals were the friends we made along the way.
And then in the final, they were just better than England.
Yeah.
They were. First half I thought was pretty closely contested.
Yeah.
I would say England, they were kind of both playing to each other's strengths.
Yeah.
Spain was kind of letting England defend, and England was kind of just letting Spain have the ball.
Yeah.
And then the second half kind of comes out, and Spain just remember who you are. And Nico Williams immediately, it's the quickest goal ever in the second half of a Euro final. Yeah. I think it was 1:10 when the ball hit the net.
Yeah.
So whatever the pep talk was at halftime was right, because I know there's a lot of people as well. I was also one of them that was looking at that Rodri coming out at halftime and going, why?
This could be
but
Zubamendi,
I thought looked great
as
well. And then England scores their goal. Cole Palmer scores.
Nice goal.
Very nice goal. It took a little bit of a deflection when you rewatch it, but very nice goal, nicely taken.
Yeah.
And most teams I feel would kind of maybe crumble there for a bit.
Yeah.
But Spain kind of just, there was about maybe a minute or two after that goal where it looked like England could get something, and then Spain just kind of went back to it, took their time, waited, chance came, and they scored.
If I may, I think it was less Spain didn't really look shocked per se.
Mm-hmm.
I think England looked energized for a period.
Yeah, England kind of looked like maybe we can get something here.
Yeah.
And the dream came crumbling down immediately.
Where were you when England was killed?
Where were you when Cole Palmer saved a nation? Yeah. That's my star boy.
Yeah. That man, the agenda would have been crazy though.
For Cole Palmer?
Not to sound crass, the City reject turned Euros star boy.
Yeah.
But no, let's be real. There's another star boy at the Euros who looked great in the Liga this season.
Yeah.
However, this year this was his Euros.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Are we're thinking the same person, right?
Yeah.
Imagine we weren't.
Yeah, no.
I'm thinking Iker Casillas.
I really did want to rip a bit, but I couldn't think of a
I know I was going to do the
player
same thing. I couldn't figure someone out.
If you guys don't know, we're talking about Lamine Yamal.
Yeah. Great tournament.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
16 for a majority of it until the final.
Well, what was it? 4 assists, 1 goal?
Yeah. One of those assists in the final, a goal in the semifinal, assist in the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Assist in the opening game, and I can't quite remember where the other assist came from, but all big moments.
Well, because he was goal and assist against France, no?
Was it France that got the assist, the second assist?
I believe so. Let me see if I can double check.
You're probably right. But yeah, no, unreal tournament from him, and obviously rewarded with, it wasn't against France.
No,
we fact checked it. It was not France. But regardless, off the top of our head, we named 3 of his 4 assists in big moments.
Yeah.
He's 17.
Shout out Adrian Rabiot.
Adrian, I've talked about this last episode. Adrian Rabiot told the kid to lock in, and the kid locked in in front of Rabiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Yamal, what can we say that hasn't already been said about him? I mean, I know I texted you yesterday kind of after the tournament, and I said I really hope that his career kind of continues to rise, and this isn't just it for him.
Yeah.
Because how many young star boys, as we call them, how many young star boys have we seen kind of take a tournament or a season, whatever, and look like they're the next guy.
Yeah.
And then, you know, in 5 years, no one remembers their name.
See, and it's astounding too, because it's so rare that we see this so young. Like, it's usually like an 18, 19-year-old. Like, you still look at 20, 21-year-olds. Like Saka's still called Star Boy. He's like 22.
Yeah, he's 22, yeah.
Yeah.
Cole Palm, we were just talking, 22 years old.
Now, I'm not quite sure if this is true. I saw something that said Pepe is older than, like, Lamine Yamal's dad. I don't know if he is.
He is. I believe Yamal's dad is 36.
That's astounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, dude. Dude, at this point, we're closer to being his dad's age than his age.
Oh, my Lord.
Like, not actually. Do the math and we're wrong.
No,
but it's just funny for the bit.
It really is, though.
Yeah.
You see someone like Yamal perform so well on the Euros, and they're like, only 16, and
I'm just sitting here. I'm talking about Yamal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
What were you doing when you were 16? I don't know, trying to graduate high school.
No. Well, it is crazy, though, that he's, like, thriving in the Euros, and bro's got homework
I don't know if you
after
saw,
the tournament.
but on his Instagram story, Yamal literally posted high school check mark, Euros check mark.
That's
insane.
He's funny.
Very fun. Did you see that he tried to bring in a Ninja Turtles mask into a press conference and they didn't let him?
I was gonna bring that up.
Really funny.
Dumpstering out France and then saying, "Let me emote, bro."
Dude, he legit said, "I snatched your crown, Mbappe."
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. And just to have the audacity to buy that and then bring it into a press conference is really funny to me.
Mbappe's era was like 3 years.
Yeah, Mbappe didn't even get to Mbappe before Yamal.
For real.
What?
For real.
Like, Mbappe just got his move to Real Madrid, like, now. Like, just now.
Yeah.
And now this, like, young Spanish kid is coming up going, like, nah, man, like, I'm him.
Something about the young, kind of awkward Barcelona right wingers.
Yeah, a little bit, huh?
Bit of a pass.
They're a special breed, I think.
They're set to play each other too. Well, if
Messi and Yamal in the what's that trophy called?
Finalissima.
Yeah.
Finalissima. You see Messi's foot,
bro.
Sorry.
It looked like a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Just either side of his ankle.
Anyways, Copa's for another day.
Yeah, Copa is another day. Right now we're talking about the Euros. And so, yeah, Spain, like, first ever team to win all 7 games.
Which is, it's kind of crazy when you think about
that.
Like,
that
feels
hasn't
wrong.
happened yet. Yeah. It's kind of strange, right?
Yeah.
Like, in my head, I don't know. Like, it feels like the team that wins, almost always wins every game. But apparently not. I mean, did they even go to extra time once? This tournament, I think all of their business was done in the 90s.
No, because it was
the
Germany
they went
game.
to extra
Florian
time.
Wirtz showed his Leverkusen style.
Gene.
Yeah, wasn't enough apparently, but you know.
A shout out Florian Wirtz. So what a tournament for him as well. But I mean, we could talk about some Spanish players, and who do we even talk about first? Like,
I mean, we spent a fair bit of time talking about Yamal. Let's talk about Nico Williams. What a player! Yeah,
kind of being overshadowed just because Yamal is like younger than him, because any other tournament would be going, man, this 21-year-old kid is he's lighting it up, but
overshadowed by an 11th grader, bro.
Legitimately. Like, great goal in the final as well. He was just so much fun to watch.
Well, I was going to say, you watch him play, and it's just, when you say he's a box threat, you usually think of like a big, striker. But it's just, anytime you'd see him line up against anybody, he looked threatening.
Yeah.
Great footwork.
Oh my
You
gosh.
never knew where he was going to go. He could cut in, he could drive low, pass him.
Yeah, giving any right back I mean, I tore into him.
Yeah.
Di Lorenzo. He absolutely, like, he destroyed him. Like, destroyed him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know what else to say apart from that. Like, Williams always looked threatening, always looked eager to be on the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Which I find is really missing a lot now from today's kind of game. I sound like an old man here. Back in my day.
We've lost the joy.
Yeah, back in my day. But no, like, you see him on the ball, and it's like, okay, something could happen here.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, credit to him. Something did happen in the final.
Yeah.
Great goal.
And it's like people talk about form, or we look so much at stats that some players get huge shouts. We've talked about some of them already. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But it's just a joy seeing
absolutely.
people, like, seeing him play. I could see him being a lot of people's favorite player after this tournament solely off the fact that he's just so fun to watch.
Yeah. And he's got like that look about him too, like he's got like the cool hair, the cool cleats. He's just got it, like sometimes you just look at a guy and it's like, you got it.
He's got, I don't know how to phrase it other than saying it's a combination of like confidence and just this craziness of I can take on anybody.
Anyone.
I don't care who you put in front of me. I want to run at them.
Yeah. And it was honest, it was a breath of fresh air. We did see it from a few players this tournament.
Yeah.
And he was probably the standout of it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was just such a breath of fresh air, like coming from like Pep City.
Yeah.
I've in case you don't know, I've ragged on Pep City and Pep's players a lot this tournament. But yeah, coming from Pep City to seeing like Nico Williams just kind of go, okay, this is how the game's supposed to be played.
Man, my brain's gonna melt when he inevitably takes the Spain job and we're just back to
square one.
Passing,
yeah,
dude, it's so over.
We're over, and it's only just begun.
Spain has finally gotten to the point where they're like, I hate to sound like I'm stereotyping. They're attacking again.
Yeah,
Spain had this, monkey on their back of possession baseball.
Yeah.
They're playing up. They're breaking through the lines. In the final, they just looked so much more competent than England.
They did. They just, not to rag on them, but they looked like they were properly coached.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's just true. Like,
I think what we've said already kind of demonstrates how we feel about that. But it's just, oh my Lord, they're playing the ball through back and forth. Their wingers look like they're actually going to do something, and they're not just going to sit and kind of shake their legs, by the corner flag and then send a ball in for nobody to clear.
Yeah,
like they're
shout out Anthony.
Yeah, my goat. I don't. Let me be clear, he's not.
He's not like that.
he's I feel bad that I have to explain that.
Yeah. Put you on the spot there. But yeah, no, it's just like, it was just fun to watch Spain, and it was nice to see a deserving winner kind of get that.
Yeah.
Who do we want to talk about next? I feel like there's a few star players. Like Danny Olmo stepped in brilliantly this term. Like even before the Pedri injury, anytime he was called upon, he looked phenomenal.
Well, he's also up there in terms of goal contributions, and it's just I know Rodri is a player of the tournament, and I have.
Oh, we have opinions on that one too.
We do have opinions on that one.
We'll get to that later. We'll save those.
But Olmo, you could argue, could have been there.
You could argue it, and you could argue it, and if you're arguing like well enough, you wouldn't sound like you don't know what you're talking about. Like,
that's half the Spain lineup.
Yeah, but like, dude, when I was because we're gonna do a segment later of team of the tournament. I was trying to avoid using Spain players because I was like, man, I don't want to just put out the Spain 11.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Do you want to try and do 2 players per team?
Oh my goodness.
Because we can,
man, that's crazy.
We can attempt.
I've already had I already made my 11.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
You're saying like we revise it in time.
I think we have to because I had my players lined up too, but I think it is kind of crazy because half of that team is for me just Spanish.
Same. I was about to say Spain. Spain is insane.
Yeah,
but I mean. What can we say about Spain that hasn't been said? I mean, look, even Cucurella, who I'm not a massive fan of, having watched him at Chelsea, but in my opinion, probably the best left back of the tournament.
Well, I wanted to talk about him briefly because you and I have had talks prior to this podcast about his, admittedly kind of poor form at Chelsea, but he turned up to this tournament and looked phenomenal. He looked competent. He had this hustle. I mean, look at the assist leading to the goal in the final.
Yeah.
I was astounded he got to that ball.
He got to that ball and whips that ball past 3 English players.
That's what I mean.
Like, first time as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like 1 or 2 touches and it was in.
Yeah.
Like, come on. So, I'm still may not be his biggest fan, but I definitely do respect what he did at this tournament. And if he can carry that out for Chelsea this season coming up, then he may have a new fan.
I wanted to ask you, dude, how much of this do you think he carries through? Do you think he's whipping that ball into Nicholas Jackson? Do you
If he
think?
does not, Jackson converts. Is he whipping that ball into Dewsbury Hall, Chelsea's marquee signing?
My goat.
Yeah. No disrespect to Dewsbury Hall. I actually rate him as a player. Just crazy that he's our marquee signing so
Yeah.
far this season. But
out.
shout out. And even their midfield, I mean, we already touched upon Rodri, Olmo. I thought Fabian Ruiz.
Yeah.
I wasn't super familiar with him. I know he played for Napoli for, I think, 4 years.
Shout out.
And he's now with PSG. Revoke the shout out.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
But, yeah, no, I thought he looked like one of the best in my opinion, the best midfielder at the tournament. I'm not sure that's a hot take. I don't know.
Once again, you could argue player of the tournament.
Funny you say that because I'm gonna. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel pretty good at moving on to kind of those segments of that. I feel like we've talked about both teams adequately. Hopefully, you, our listener, will feel as though that was a good enough summary of both teams' kind of tournaments.
Angrily respond if you think different.
Yes, please. I want all the hate comments.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's engagement.
Bring them on.
Yeah.
No publicity is bad publicity, you know? But so I kind of sent you earlier kind of things I want to talk about. So we've got best keeper, best young player, best player. Was it a rightful winner? Biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, and team of the tournament. But you will have to wait to hear our awards, as we will be doing that in a part 2, where we'll be going over all of our Euro awards as we've discussed the final. So it's time to kind of hop into the Euro awards. We're going to split this up real nice, real digestible for you. 2 parts. Going to be a lot of fun. John will be back on with me for part 2.
Goodbye, baby girls.
Sticking with our theme, obviously. But thank you so much for listening. If you have listened this far, if you haven't, that's okay. You won't be hearing this anyways. But thank you so much for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. It's been a pleasure talking with John, and we will catch you guys in the next one. So, cheers, everyone.
And that was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates at Official Sam Little on Instagram, where I am most active. And until next time, live, laugh, little.